Sports Illustrated just opened a new store right in your own living room with a large selection of the newest, hottest, and most unique sports merchandise and entertainment releases. At the Sports Illustrated store, you can get the best sports videos like Michael Jordan Airtime. Plus quick access to championship tapes featuring the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the Final Four, and the World Series. There's also high-quality, authentic sports merchandise, the real stuff from NFL Pro Line, NBA Authentics, and Major League Baseball's Authentic Diamond Collection. Our sports collectibles feature the original 1954 first issue of Sports Illustrated, as well as signed SI covers from some of the biggest names in sports. Plus, there's also the latest SI book releases. It's sport shopping the easy way. Just look for our product inserts or our Sports Illustrated store ads in the pages of SI. To order, call toll-free 1-800-274-5200.
You know, last year, the NFL had all the things that fans have come to expect from pro football.
In all professional sports, I don't think anything quite compares to the spectacle of the NFL.
I think everybody knew going in last year that Dallas was the dominant team.
Deep to the post, Harper, touchdown!
Not only did this team have talent, but had great desire to dominate.
It was a great year for old pros. You know, vintage guys like Sims, Montana, and Allen.
Once again, the magician that is Joe Montana.
Certainly wasn't a bad year for young guys either. Of course, you had Reggie Brooks and Jerome Bettis at running back, and you had quarterbacks like Rick Meyer and Drew Bledsoe. It's very unusual for quarterbacks to have an impact like that so quickly.
It's a touchdown! Who got you?
And, of course, pro football always has its lighter side.
You see him? Evidently not.
Freddie broke his nose. That's what's the matter when you broke his nose.
He never had a good nose anyways. Listen to the roar of this crowd if this doesn't work.
Lock that down, that sweet. You just stand there fiddle-faddling with him. Go and block his ass.
In the end, however, the Dallas Cowboys' talent and fire prevailed in a big way.
Fake, throws it to Harper, touchdown!
It's anybody's guess how off-season developments will affect Dallas's chances of winning a third straight Super Bowl.
But for one of 27 challengers to Dallas's supremacy, this is how it went last year, a year that had it all, NFL '93.
The Cleveland Browns opened the 1993 season before a capacity crowd on the lakefront. Aerial fireworks by the famed Blue Angels Squadron provided a prelude to a season of change. Against Cincinnati, the Browns showcased an aerial exhibition of their own.
Touchdown! Well, number 81 is no longer number 1, but he was numero uno on that play.
But the big story on this sun-splashed opening day was a defense that wore down the Bengals with fresh troops all afternoon. Their ferocious charge teed off on young David Klingler, accounting for 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, a pair of forced fumbles, and to head coach Bill Belichick's defensive-minded delight, the touchdown that wrapped up the game with fresh troops all afternoon. Their ferocious charge teed off on young David Klingler, accounting for 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, a pair of forced fumbles, and to head coach Bill Belichick's defensive-minded delight, the touchdown that wrapped up the game.
Klingler drops back into the pocket. Being blitzed, hit from behind. Fumbles the ball. The Browns have it. Steve on more at the 10. Touchdown, Browns!
By winning the first opener of the 3-year Belichick era, the Browns had drawn first blood in their division race. All 3 central rivals had lost their first games. The next week, in a nationally televised Monday night game, the Dog Pound continued to have lots to bark about against one of the premier teams in football, the 49ers.
Hands off to the up back at James Jones for a touchdown! And the 49ers weren't ready for that.
I'm sorry to step on your call, Ned, but I get excited when the fat guys get one.
This was a night in which Cleveland excelled in all phases of the game.
He has plenty of distance, and Stover has punched it through, and through by about 10 to 12 yards.
Matt Stover kicked field goals of 47, 41, and 33 yards. His kickoffs kept the Niners pinned near their end zone all evening. It allowed the defense to implement an aggressive game plan that sent dangerous Steve Young reeling.
Steve Young back to pass on first down, deep over the middle, intended for Brent Jones. The ball picked off. It is intercepted by Clay Matthews at the 30. Matthews comes up with a big interception.
Cleveland's pressure defense pounded Young into 3 interceptions. The Browns notched 4 turnovers for the second straight game while committing none themselves. What really threw San Francisco off balance was the job the secondary did on Jerry Rice. The Browns' DBs kept him out of the end zone by staying stride for stride with him on every pass. The 49ers could only watch in stunned silence as the Browns put the game away.
Kosar looking left, looking over the middle, throwing deep right side. Jackson, leaping catch for a touchdown! Michael Jackson has scored to break the tie. Bill Belichick is being mobbed on the Browns sideline, and there's the Gatorade shower. Rob Burnett doing the honors. Belichick gets a hug from
For Belichick, it was his biggest victory as Cleveland coach. To accomplish it in front of a nationwide audience gave his young squad added confidence, not to mention a flawless record of 2-0. Week 3 took place in Los Angeles, where throngs of Browns backers came to watch their team pit their perfect record against Al Davis's equally unbeaten and always rough Raiders. But the Browns fell behind as Bernie Kosar suffered one of his worst days with 3 interceptions in the face of the Raider blitz. In the fourth quarter, Bernie was benched. To the rescue rode his old college teammate, Vinny Testaverde.
5-step drop for Testaverde, throws end zone, touchdown. Lawyer Tillman on the post pattern. Well, it's not over yet.
It wasn't, because the defense sacked Jeff Hostetler 5 times and limited LA to just 27 yards in the second half. Meanwhile, the Raiders keyed on Eric Metcalf, completely blanketing him most of the day, but not all of it.
Drills one back inside the 20 to the 19. Metcalf up the middle, 25, 30, outside at the 35 to the 40, 45, Metcalf to the 50, in Raiders territory, and finally run out of bounds. And the Browns bench is going crazy, congratulating Eric Metcalf.
Here, Testaverde led a comeback reminiscent of the old Cardiac Kids.
Testaverde throws over the middle, a sliding catch at the 3-yard line. The Browns will have it first and goal. 17 seconds to go, the clock is still moving.
At this juncture, Belichick made the most brilliant call of his coaching career, completely crossing up the Raiders with the game on the line.
Receivers on the left side, Jackson on the right. Testaverde, pitch out, Metcalf to the 1-yard line, he scores, and the Browns are going to win the game!
What a call!
Eric Metcalf has finally burned the Raiders, and Vinny Testaverde has authored one of the great comebacks in Browns history.
What a gutsy call by Bill Belichick, Ozzie Newsome.
Metcalf was the lone setback, and like he used to do with the Texas Longhorns, he took the ball on the pitch out, and Metcalf first across the goal line untouched.
After Metcalf ran the hardest yard in pro football, his coach and teammates went bonkers. For 57 minutes, the Raiders had controlled the game, but in a startling revival, Cleveland scored 16 points in 2.5 minutes. The exciting comeback ignited by Eric Metcalf gave Cleveland its best start since 1979.
This kid has got a lot of heart. He listens. He's a tremendous talent. And well, you all saw it today, but I've always seen it.
The 93 Browns ran out of miracles in Indianapolis.
Testaverde hit at the goal line, breaks one tackle, hit at the two, fumbles the ball. The Colts have it in the end zone. It's a touchdown, and this football game is over.
The season's first loss was soon followed by the second, 1 week later against Miami. The team's once lofty record had disintegrated to 3-2, and division opponent Cincinnati was up next. Riding a two-game losing streak into the Queen City, the team turned to Vinny Testaverde, who made his first start in a Cleveland uniform a winning one, throwing 3 touchdown passes.
Fake pass to Metcalf, and he throws the screen to Bardell the other way to the left side. Bardell to the 25-yard line, inside the 20, to the 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tommy Bardell!
But it wasn't all Vinny.
Hand off to Green. Here comes Clay Matthews. He hits Klingler and fumbles the ball. Picked up by Michael Dean Perry. He's down at the 2-yard line. First and goal, Cleveland.
Cleveland was back on the winning track, but there was no time to look back. Straight ahead lay the Pittsburgh Steelers in a matchup of bitter arch-enemies, tied for first place in the AFC Central. There's nothing like a day in the dog pound, where it was hats off to the hottest rivalry in pro football. The Turnpike Series between Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Nice day for a brawl, isn't it? See if we can heat it up. Ready for a big game today? I am. It's going to be a war today. A serious, serious war. The guy that throws the first punch and the last one's going to win this one this week. Watch him punch it!
The first 2 punches were thrown by the home team, each with lightning-like speed.
It's Testaverde to throw, dodges one tackler, throws. Jackson has it at the 45, at the 50, into Steelers territory at the 40, 35, 30, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Browns!
I have never seen Michael Jackson run that fast. He ran away.
Michael Jackson ran away from Pittsburgh. Eric Metcalf ran through them.
Hands it back at the 10, ahead to the 15, outside to the 20, to the 25, 30, 35, he needs a block at the 40, 45, 50, Metcalf at the 40, 25, 20, he's all the way for a touchdown!
He high-stepped that one all the way. Mike Caldwell with a big block to spring Metcalf.
They got another one, too. Wide open. You ain't going nowhere, Ray Foster!
Midway through the second quarter, the Steeler offense had been held silent. Now was the time for it to be heard.
Into the end zone for a touchdown. Right up the gut goes Barry Foster, and right back into the game go the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Good job! We got to keep coming with those draws. Okay? And the fake draws should be...
Now it was Testaverde's turn, in a game that swung back and forth all day.
Fake handoff, Testaverde throws, end zone, touchdown, Ron Blakely! How's that for a surprise? And Pittsburgh never saw him in the shadow of the goalpost.
They saw him. They just didn't think they'd throw it to him. His second career touchdown.
I just came open.
Yeah, I think everybody was. It was a good job.
You were open too?
Late in the game came a play that defined the season for Vinny Testaverde and the Browns. Testaverde had severely separated his shoulder. But with just 2 points separating the teams for the uncontested lead in the division, Cleveland forced a punt that gave them one last chance at victory in this thrilling drama.
Gets the kick away, driving Metcalf all the way back to the 25, ahead to the 30, outside to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, in the Steelers territory, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, touchdown Browns! Unbelievable! Eric Metcalf has
Amidst the euphoria of this dramatic win, Bill Belichick got the bad news about his quarterback.
This is going to be a big problem. What's that mean? AC sprain, foreign guy. Depends how big of a separation. It could be 6 weeks, could be 8 weeks.
Ironically, while others celebrated, Belichick was aware the season was in jeopardy. But any team that has Eric Metcalf can't be counted out.
It's a big thrill. I feel good. I get to be the Joe Carter of this game, and that was the home run for our team, and it makes me excited, and as well as our team, and now it puts us on top.
Nick Bonaconte said the Steelers was going to take us out. I believe we're the one that's 5-2 and number one on top of the conference. So Nick, that one's for you. Thank you.
Real big win. But you know, the dirt of it is that we have to play another one, and that's going to test us right there.
Unfortunately, the test was against John Elway and the Broncos. For Cleveland, that traditionally means trouble. The Denver defeat was doubly devastating. It not only meant a loss, but marked the end of Bernie Kosar's career in Cleveland.
Belichick saw under Kosar's guidance that the team was just not that good. It may win a few games, it may sneak up on some people, but sooner or later it was all going to cave in. It was best to clean house at the time that he did so that they could start to build for the future, even if it may look ridiculous and like cutting your own throat at the time that you do it.
Todd Philcox about to take his first snap of the season. Under pressure, steps up, loses the football, loose at the 7-yard line. The Seahawks have it, and in for a touchdown. What an inauspicious way for Philcox to debut in '93.
Seattle was the second of 4 consecutive losses for the once high-flying Browns. But even in the depths of defeat, there were signs of encouragement. They fell to the Falcons, at the time the league's hottest team, by a scant 3 points.
Philcox is going to throw deep, right side, man open, touchdown Browns! Mark Carrier hauled it in!
The next week, Testaverde returned to the lineup and was healthy enough to help end the tailspin by beating New Orleans.
Vinny back in the pocket to throw, plants his feet, throws, end zone, touchdown, Michael Jackson! His second touchdown of the game.
With their quarterback still rusty, the defense took center stage and implemented the game plan to perfection, stopping the run with a wall of brown jerseys. Forced to pass, the defense sacked Wade Wilson 9 times, despite the fact he operated behind one of the best lines in the league. In holding the Saints to an incredible 56 yards passing, Belichick's boys were finally off the schneid. Next was a visit to Houston's House of Pain, but it was Cleveland who inflicted the initial blow on the very first play of the game.
Testaverde play-action pass, loops at the Metcalf at the 35, outside of the 30, 25-20, 15-10, 5-4-3-2-1, touchdown! What a play by Testaverde to Metcalf, and the Oilers' defense was caught flat-footed.
It was a day when the offense rolled up a 3-year high, 410 yards with a wide-open gambling attack. It included a 53-yard field goal by Matt Stover.
There's Stover with a 53-yard attempt. Snap is down. The kick is in the air. It has the distance, and it is good. Matt Stover from 53 yards away.
Several times, the Browns went for broke with 4th down gambles and a successful onside kick.
The Browns are scrambling for the football. I think they have it. At the 48-yard line, I think the Browns have recovered the onside kick. Oh, the Browns are pulling out all the stops today.
Warren Moon hit the turf 4 times, giving Cleveland a total of 13 sacks over the past 2 games. Moon was held to just 150 yards passing, while Testaverde more than doubled it with 319 yards and a pair of touchdowns.
Testaverde fake handoff, has time to throw. Deep over the middle for Carrier. Touchdown Browns! 28-yard strike on a beautifully thrown ball.
This was a game that had everything, including a 1-point Cleveland lead late in the 3rd quarter. But what it didn't have was a Cleveland victory. Chris Dishman's interception in the final quarter led to the winning points. In the most physical game of the Belichick era, the Browns outplayed the Oilers, but were eliminated from the division race. In the season's home finale, the Browns lost to their coach's former mentor despite a flurry of touchdowns from an unexpected source.
Testaverde throws over the middle, pass caught at the goal line, touchdown Browns. It's McCardle who beat Corwin Brown at the goal line. Over the middle, wide open for a touchdown. His second of the game is Keenan McCardle.
7 days later, McCardle caught 2 more touchdowns.
Play action throw, deep end zone, wide open, touchdown Keenan
In a romp
McCardle.
over the Rams, number 87 took second billing to number 12, who set an NFL record for accuracy, completing an incredible 21 of 23 passes in Cleveland's biggest point explosion in several years.
Carrier across the 50, into the 40, and the 30, the 25, and Mark Carrier's gone for a Browns touchdown. How about that? If that isn't a good Eric Metcalf imitation, I don't know what.
The 42-point outburst was a Christmas gift to Browns backers, the result of a near-flawless performance by a much-maligned quarterback. In breaking a 20-year-old NFL record, Testaverde was so dominant, the only 2 incompletions he threw all day were intentional. In the season's final week, the Browns played for pride against Pittsburgh.
Testaverde with a long count, fakes a handoff, bootleg action, rolling right, throwing deep for Mark Carrier, and Carrier got the ball at the 35, stumbling forward to the 20, still on his feet and tackled at the 15-yard line.
Carrier took the ball right away from Woodson. Talk about concentration and athletic ability all combined in one play.
Mark Carrier's extraordinary effort typified this team, reaching the heights, then stumbling, but somehow holding on. Accordingly, the Browns trailed by a touchdown with 1:11 left to play. They had 2 chances to send the game into overtime.
End zone, Michael Jackson got the ball, but out of bounds.
Thought he had the touchdown.
Oh, and the Browns thought he had it, leaping up and down on the sideline. 8 seconds to go. Here's Testaverde, 5-step drop. Browns have to go to the end zone. Deep again, fade pattern, Jackson up in the air, has it knocked away with 2 seconds to go, and that'll be the football game.
It was a fitting end to a season characterized by close defeats and last-second victories. If the '93 Browns were indeed a team in transition, one thing remained constant: the rich and storied tradition of this franchise and a coach who both understands and respects it.
Bill Belichick has a real sense of history and a real sense of the tradition of the Cleveland Browns, and he thinks that is critical. That's one of those subtleties that can make your team different from the others in the NFL. What he thinks could set the Browns apart is to really appreciate their past, for them to appreciate the stars who came before these current players. Jim Brown comes around, Lou Groza comes around, Paul Warfield has been around. Some of these old players he brings to each game, he has them there to give these guys pep talks. He wants the current Cleveland Brown players to be aware of the tradition and to use that to take pride in being a Brown, and then hope that that pride will spill over onto the field, and maybe it'll be good for 1 4th and 1 play. Maybe it'll be good for 1 tackle in the open field. It'll be a little subtle thing that confidence and pride in being part of this organization will actually translate to wins on the field.
To get more wins on the field, the Browns didn't exactly sit back and relax in the offseason. Changes occurred not only in player personnel, but in Belichick's coaching staff. One of the moves that should make a big impact is the ascendancy of Steve Crosby to offensive coordinator, a change designed to diversify the attack.
Kosar turns, pitches out to Metcalf. He hands off to Jackson. Jackson wants to throw. Pops it deep, left side. Metcalf has it at the 20. Slips it.
My main goal here is to get this offense going, and again to be the type of offense that will be unpredictable and attack people and put some points on the board.
And off to Carrier on the reverse for Bardell. Carrier to the 15-10. 5-4-3-2-1. Touchdown, Brown!
And what a block by Vinny Testaverde.
As much as the Browns liked Vinny's blocking, his play-faking and mobility made a bigger impression during the most productive season of his career.
I think we saw last year that Vinny, far from being a has-been quarterback, is a great athlete. He's incredibly skilled. He's quick. He's got that terrific arm.
Verdi has time to throw deep over the middle for Carrier. Touchdown, Brown!
Watching him play, you can see that there's a seed there. And there's a seed of a great player. A player who can be a good enough player to lead your team to the playoffs. Vinny's going to be tested this year by team expectations more than individual expectations. In other words, a Bill Belichick quarterback has to be a complementary player. He does not have to be the center in the three-ring circus.
Despite their losing season, the Browns firmly believe a jump to the playoffs is possible.
I think there's some reason for optimism. 10-6 is certainly within the realm of possibility, and then you're in the playoffs and anything can happen. Especially if you're lucky enough to play at home and have the dog pound on your side, throwing biscuits and barking and all the rest of that stuff. That can't hurt a team. So it's a real critical time. If Belichick can turn out to be the leader that it seems he is, he could kind of goose this thing to 9-7, 10-6. And I think fans of any team ought to be optimistic and happy with a record like that.
The Browns' plan is exactly that, to make their fans happy with a division title and a trip to the playoffs in 1994.
On the eve of the NFL's 75th anniversary season,
here's a nostalgic profile of a man whose contributions to the game will never be forgotten.
The chocolate capital of the world is one of the most scenic areas in the state. It's hard to blend into the scenery if you're 6'4", 230 pounds. But blending in is something Gary Collins knows all about. In the 1960s, Collins disappeared into secondaries as a receiver for the powerful Cleveland Browns. The knack for producing the tough catch at the dramatic moment resulted in 70 touchdowns, the most by a receiver in team history. If you put out a want ad for the ideal receiver in the 60s, you look no further than Gary Collins.
If you put it down in a questionnaire, wanted, man, 6 foot, 180 pounds, runs pretty fast, and you're going to get hit at an intersection, I don't think too many people would fill out the questionnaire. Yeah, it takes courage, but you don't think about that. It takes courage to go across an intersection, too.
The busiest intersection in pro football is at the goal line. And while Collins escaped gridlock with few dents on his chassis, his insurance policy also covered collision.
Gary Collins was the toughest for me. He gave me the most problems. He caught more touchdown passes against me than any other receiver.
Most of Collins' touchdowns resulted from post patterns, a maneuver that became a whipping post for defensive backs and a hitching post for Collins.
I never had the great speed, but I took pride in one thing, that I could catch. And I could catch the football no matter what the situation was. I always took pride in third down catches and touchdown catches. Those are the tough ones to make.
In 1964, the Browns stormed to a title in the NFL's Eastern Conference. That year, Collins stood above most receivers in the NFL, but head and shoulders below the team's colossus.
It was a team effort, this championship year, 1964, and there was more to it than Jim Brown. Although I understand that people identify the Browns with Jim Brown. It's like the Yankees, Mickey Mantle, that's all you know, or Joe DiMaggio.
In the 1964 championship game, there were so many leading men to play the starring role, there was no room on the marquee for Gary Collins.
Probably if we would win, it'd be Jim Brown, Frank Ryan, because quarterbacks always get it, or Unitas. I certainly didn't think of myself. Be my epitaph. No matter what I do in life, Gary Collins, oh yeah, he scored 3 touchdowns in the '64 championship game. I know how Bobby Thompson felt when he hit the 9th inning home run in '51. It's a rare feeling, it's a wonderful feeling. It stays with you all the time.